Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Pink Power Call. I am so excited to be sharing tonight with Natalie. Tonight, we're going to be talking about building the coach within you. And it's a topic that we're excited about because it's a big part of our business. Our business involves coaching on many different levels. And so the first part of this call, I'm going to take the first part of this call and talk about the importance of coaching yourself. So if you don't have a team, this is still for you. This call is still for you. If you just started your business, this call is for you. And then Natalie's going to be talking about some really great points about coaching a team and things that we need to implement ASAP. So I'm really excited about talking about this because I've done a lot of self-coaching because your girl gets in her head a lot. And so I think that it's a really important thing to talk about. Okay, so honestly, some of us hear the word coaching and we get intimidated by it. We either, I feel like there's two kinds of people, right? There's a person that's like, yes, I want to coach people. I think that's awesome. And then like there's another group of people where like, I'm intimidated by that. And I think whether or not you're intimidated by coaching or you absolutely love it, I think you'll really be able to implement this stuff. And so if you didn't know, Natalie is my sponsor. If you don't know, now you know. And she has really helped me with a lot of this, the things I'm going to be talking about tonight. She's amazing. So, okay. So if you're writing notes, you can write this point down. One, coaching yourself is taking full responsibility for your own mindset and your own business. So if you're in this industry and you're really here for the long haul, you really want to make this a career, you really want to do this and you're committed to this, I want you to know that mindset work is the most important work that you'll ever do to grow your business. So please get used to the idea of always coming back to that. I was resistant to that because I was like, is it really my mindset? Yes, it's really your mindset. It really is. We're not just saying that to say it, and diamonds are not just repeating this just because. I mean, you really have to come back to your mindset. Also, a big part of coaching yourself is being your own biggest cheerleader. And I think Natalie is a great example of this. I mean, she has really inspired me in this area because the girl can celebrate. I mean, I think it is amazing for you to be able to celebrate your wins, for you to be able to affirm that in yourself and not seek outside validation for everything awesome that you do in your business. If you sign somebody up, I really hope that you're proud of yourself, even if nobody shouts you out for it. I really hope that you're proud of the work that you do, even if you're not getting that instant praise and credit. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about when you got to take responsibility for your own business. This is what it looks like. It looks like you celebrating yourself. It looks like you cheering for yourself. I'm not saying that it's bad for as a coach or as someone sponsoring other people to celebrate your people. But a big part of taking responsibility is making sure that you are your biggest cheerleader. We live in our mental world, so we have to take responsibility for our own thoughts, which leads me to my second point, which is address your limiting beliefs. No one really knows you like you know you. Okay, so fall in love with this process of becoming, instead of hyper fixating on the goal. A lot of times we set goals and we're just focused on the goal, and then all of these limiting beliefs start to surface. Self-awareness is an absolute gift, and I say this all the time. It is a gift, and we have to give it to ourselves. Self-awareness is so important. And I heard in this podcast, and this was really, really interesting, that there are two different types of people who think they're self-aware, right? And then the person that's actually self-aware. And this statistic that she gave was really shocking, but she said that research is showing that 95% of people think that they're self-aware, but they're really not. The percentage is actually 10 to 15% of us are actually self-aware, which is really alarming, right? So this means that around 80% of us are either lying to ourselves or lying to ourselves about whether or not we are lying to ourselves. So it's kind of wild. But this is the ugly truth about introspection. Okay. Thinking about yourself is not actually knowing yourself. I'm going to repeat that. Thinking about yourself is not actually knowing yourself. Okay. Which leads to this second point, is that self-awareness is not self-centeredness. So self-awareness is knowing where the root of your thoughts are coming from. It's not just thinking about what the actual thing is, if that makes sense. And research also shows that people who are actually self-aware have stronger relationships, right? That's no surprise. Are more effective leaders, are more confident, creative, are more promotable, which I thought was super interesting, and are more overall fulfilled. So if you have felt, it's just an example of kind of getting to the root of what you're feeling. If you have felt things or have said things like, I always self-sabotage, or I am procrastinating again. Why do I always procrastinate? I always procrastinate. Usually that's tied to a fear of success. So then you would take that information and you would dissect it. And if you do have a coach, you do it with your coach, but you can do this by yourself. You ask yourself, you journal, where is this coming from? Okay. If you're scared of trying new things, if you're hesitant to try new things, if you never try new things, then that is rooted in the fear of failure. So I think it's important for us to get down to what the thing actually is. And I always say this, failure is not bad unless you struggle with shame, right? Because then if you struggle with shame, then fear just sends you into a spiral. Failure and fear, that sends you into a spiral of negative thinking about yourself. So um, I heard this athlete talking about Michael Jordan. I just wanted to bring that up because it impacted me so much. But he said Michael Jordan had a 15-year career. He had a great NBA career. We all know him. It's Michael Jordan. And he only won, or like I even said only, but he won 6 championships. And he was being interviewed, and he said, are the other 9 years that Michael Jordan played basketball, do those years not count? Like, would we even say that those years were a failure? Absolutely not. We would not say that. So all that to say is not every year it's going to be your winning year. But we would never throw away any of the experiences that we consider a failure. We learn from that. And we can still be great in our careers. I mean, look at Michael Jordan. He's an icon. And it's all about having longevity mindset. And I can go into that for a long time, because I believe that if we're actually going to do this, we need to have a longevity mindset. But if you don't have longevity mindset, then your limiting beliefs will dominate your decisions. And it does not have to be that way. So we want to question these limiting beliefs. We want to ask ourselves questions. Coaching is all about asking good questions. One thing that was interesting too is that a lot of times the questions that we ask ourselves, we have to make sure that they're not questions to shame us or belittle ourselves, because that can easily happen too. So a lot of us ask ourselves, why? Like, why am I not recruiting more? Why am I not seeing more growth in my business? And research is showing that asking yourself why questions actually lead to depressing thoughts, despair, hopelessness. So why me, right? Or, why is it so hard for me? It can really lead you into really dark place. So we want to stay away from those why questions and replace why with what. So what could I be doing different in my business to see more results? What does my schedule need to look like to accommodate the things I need to do and prioritize my business? What can make my retention better? You see how those questions are actually giving us answers and solutions? So why questions really trap us. So don't ask yourself why questions. Don't ask other people why questions. Ask yourself, your team, what? What does my team need from me? These questions are going to lead you to better outcomes. So ask yourself too, if you have a negative thought, if you have a negative feeling, what is the root of this feeling? I keep thinking about this negative thing about my business. What is the root of this? Someone from my team came to me about this problem. What guidance would I give them? And I have to remind myself of that. If you're anything like me, you're probably a little bit hard on yourself. I say things to myself that I would never, ever say to anybody I love or care for. And so it's so important to be kind to ourselves when you are digging deep, because you know all of that matters. The way you talk to yourself matters, which leads to my other point, controlling your inner voice. Manage your self-talk. Feelings are a great thing. And if maybe you're that person that gags when you think about, oh my God, feelings. But feelings are a great thing. Feelings are a guide that guide us to what's really going on. And you can shove it deep down somewhere where you might not feel it, or find it, but that does not mean that it's not there. And so it will spill out in different ways in your life. So do the adult thing, right? I think that's the most adulting thing we could do, is actually face our feelings and really acknowledge that they're there, because they're a guide. Your feelings are a guide. So manage your self-talk. Our brain is a giant computer and our words are what programs it. So we have to, like I said, be kind to ourselves, and really try not to escape what you think, if you're getting an answer that you don't like about why you're feeling something, just continue to dig deeper. I know it's not easy, but I promise you, every time I have done that with anything concerning my business, I have only grown. I have only seen growth from that. Um, and then before I pass it on to Natalie, I also wanted to talk about vision casting to yourself. I think it's super important. I know we talk about vision casting so much, but I want to challenge you to vision cast to yourself. I think, sometimes we want to inspire others, and then we're not pouring into ourselves. We're not pouring belief into ourselves. We're not vision casting to ourselves. And I really challenge you, to me, um, casting vision, if you're a believer, I see that as speaking the truth of the Lord into your life, into your identity, into who you are. You are a child of God. You can be successful. God has called you for more, and just start speaking that into yourself, because if you're waiting for someone else to come to light that fire in you, you might be waiting forever. Light that fire in yourself right now. You can do that today. And that's what's so amazing about taking responsibility for your business. So Natalie, go ahead and take it away. Thank you so much.
Love all of that, Nat. I'm like, oh, this is so good. With that vision casting to yourself, I looked up and I have all of my I have a bunch of Post-it notes right here. And I do definitely vision cast to myself. It is powerful. I have right here, everything I put my hands to prospers. I have right here, the best is yet to come. These are things that I am vision casting to myself. The best is yet to come. That is, I mean, it's powerful to actually do these things, to take what Natalie is saying, coaching yourself, serious, because you're with yourself 24/7. No matter where you go, you are always going to be right there. So you are the most powerful coach that you can have. And I will say, Natalie's so good at this because we started this at the same exact time. She helped me go silver. And so she had to figure out how to coach herself. You know what I'm saying? So, okay. So when it comes to coaching your team, just know anything I say on here, if you're on my team, if you're my level 1, I'm not talking about you. I am not talking about you. Okay. I have coached a ton of people, and I've coached a ton of people who have coached a ton of people. So, I'm not talking about anybody in particular. I'm honestly, truly not. Okay. So number 1, with coaching your team, coaching somebody else is such an honor. And so, you need to create a safe environment, for coaching to be effective. Okay. You have to truly care and love people for coaching to be effective. You have to cultivate, as the leader, you have to cultivate, it is on you to create a mutually vulnerable, open, honest, transparent environment that is, as long as it's combined with a growth mindset and listen closely and good listening, that's a safe environment for coaching to really be fruitful. And I extra emphasis on listening. You as the coach should be doing much more listening than talking. Okay. So if you take nothing away from anything that I'm saying, just listen. Okay. Just take the time to listen. Okay. Meet people where they're at. Okay. Everyone has a belief threshold. Okay. Not everyone comes onto your team wanting, this is like dating. Okay. You don't want to freak people out and come off too strong right away when you're, moving into a coaching relationship. You don't want to push your agenda on them. We want to vision cast belief into them, but they're not going to come on and immediately typically think, I'm going to be a diamond. I'm ready to, meet people where you're at and guide them into more growth and more growth. And as time goes on, they'll be able to grow in their belief and in where you're going with coaching. Okay. This is my next point is important. You are a coach and not a boss. You are a coach and not a manager. Okay. And a coach's job is to be curious and ask a lot of questions. That asking questions curiously is the biggest key to coaching. If you aren't good at this, there is a book called Good Leaders Ask Great Questions by John Maxwell. And that's a really good place to start. But what I want to say is about curiosity. When you're curious, you're in relationship mode. And this applies to all of your relationship. Have you ever been in task mode and you're just going through all the things that you've got going on, and you see your spouse and you are like, whatever, you're not even curious how their day is going because you're just so in the zone. But on the days when, your spouse comes home or your friend comes home or whatever, and, you're in relationship mode, you're actually curious about how their day was. When they start telling you a story, you're actually curious. Well, what happened after that? Well, what did they say to that? Curiosity equals relationship mode. Okay. And when you might have someone on your, agenda, on your like schedule or agenda, and it might feel like a task. If you're just, you might know that you're in task mode. If you're just giving out solutions, you're not listening, you're being short, you want to get through this, you're multitasking. You're doing this and you're that, and you're doing your dishes and you're whatever. You're not going to get where you need to go unless you slow down and patiently listen and curiously ask more questions. Okay. For example, when I do my coaching, not to say that you can never multitask, sometimes you can, and sometimes you need to, and sometimes, sometimes it's just what works out for your schedule and you have to be driving somewhere during that time or whatever. But if at all possible, like be somewhere where you can give somebody your full attention. But I take notes. I'll usually be right here, and I like to do face-to-face when I'm coaching people, so I can read nonverbal, so I can see in their face if they're discouraged. I'll literally be like, you look a little discouraged. Because sometimes people will give you lip service and they won't want to go there, but you can call it out. If you can look there and you can see you look a little bit discouraged. And that's a benefit to being able to do face-to-face. But I will take notes and I will listen for keywords like, I was doing this and that, and, I felt like I was coming off a little bit pushy, and people will go on and on and on. And you got to write down those keywords. And then I'll be like, hold on, let's go back. I heard that you said you feel like you're being pushy. Do you always feel like that? And you'll be able to, not attack. That's aggressive. You'll be able to attack it. You'll be able to address those things if you're listening well. Okay. Like I said, when you're curious, you're in relationship mode. And what I want to say is I want to remind you that this is a relationship business. So never treat people like a task when this is a relationship business. Spending the extra time with people is worth it. Giving somebody your patience, giving somebody your attention. You have to slow down sometimes to speed up. You have, like, if you do that, you'll get more breakthrough, as opposed to you doing a whole bunch of little coaching calls where you're not getting anywhere. Okay. So when you're curious, you're going to uncover hidden desires, limiting beliefs, like Natalie was saying, pain points, and taking notes, and you can really begin to understand where somebody is coming from. And then, oh, it says my internet's unstable. Can y'all see me? Am I good? Okay. I have the sketchiest internet. Okay. So once you're able to uncover that, then you can speak truth. Then you can provide direction. Then you can provide training resources, and you can challenge them and always cast vision. So like I said, it's not our job to be spitting out advice. Like, okay, well, here's what you need to do. Then you need to do this. Then you need to do that. Like, it's not your job to do that. It's your job to listen. And then at the end, you can provide the advice and the guidance and whatever. Mostly coaching shouldn't be training someone one-on-one. I'm not saying you can't train someone one-on-one or do that a little bit, but usually there's a resource for that. And coaching is to uncover and challenge and give feedback and let people process. Because a lot of the time, most of the time, the answers for what people need to be doing or what they need or what's really going on is inside of them, if you can draw it out of them. What I'll say is, at the end of every coaching call, never miss an opportunity to vision cast. at the end of every coaching call I do, just about, I am intentional to build belief in someone, and I will cast vision to them every single time. I will call out what they're doing. I'm like, you are doing a really great job. You're doing this thing. I see you growing in your leadership. I'm calling out strengths. I'm calling out their effort. I am seeing them. They are known. They are being built up. And I'm like, I can tell. And this is coming from a real place. And you're going to be able to cast vision once you've really listened. But I will say, you are on the verge of a breakthrough. Pretty soon, your people are going to be coming, or your people are already coming, and more are gonna be coming because you're doing the right things. You're calling out what they're doing right, their strengths, and casting vision for where they're going every single time. Don't miss an opportunity to do that. Never miss an opportunity. It makes a big impact. And that's probably one of the most important things that I do in coaching, period. So like I said, yep, training can be done separately. It's, a little bit of training is fine. Teaching somebody, giving someone feedback on, what a better response will be, or how not to play small, or, I notice you're doing this, giving them feedback. But lastly, who to coach. Okay. So you should be coaching people who are showing that they really want it. You should be coaching people who are hungry or, show potential. You should be coaching people who show up consistently, and who are doing the things. Sometimes people will agree to coaching, to people please, because you're like, come on, let's get on coaching, let's get going. And you're trying to drag them, and they will agree, and they'll keep on not doing not showing up, not being consistent, not applying what you're talking about. And sometimes the most loving thing that you can do is let someone grow and become independent in their own strength, in their own ownership. Because sometimes we can depend on other people to tell us what to do, or, whatever. But when you become like, okay, when you're like, okay, I'm going to dig my heels in, and I'm going to figure this out, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. That is when I see people become so much more empowered. And so don't drag people, coach people who want it and are consistently doing the things, because it's not serving you to drag people or baby people or save people. We don't want to be saving people all the time. Our job is to, number one, empower people. And so we can't feed everyone every single answer. We can't fix every single problem. We can't come in and address every single problem for them, for somebody down the road. Not to say don't help your people, but above all, empower your people to have the confidence to know that they can do this. They can find their answers. They can lead someone. They can do it afraid. And that's most important. So those are my tips. And I think we're good. This was fun. This was fun doing a call with you.
Yes, thank you so much for being on here with me. And as someone who has been coached by Natalie, I will say this over and over again, I would not be where I am without her. She told me for years, you're going to be a jewel, you're going to be a diamond. And I was like really not believing it. I borrowed her belief for a long time. And so really just continue to speak that into yourself and speak it into your team. We love you guys, and thank you so much for joining us. Bye.